Good evening, everyone. So today I have a very special guest with me here today amongst all of you. He is Army man par excellence, general, very decorated general from the armed forces, from the Indian Army, and he has this rare distinction of being the only officer from the Army and the only from the Indian Army and the only general in the world to have been titled as Ironman. We will know more about him today, and we will learn a lot more about as to how he has managed to achieve great feats, and we will know as to how he has managed his emotions like anxiety and fear. कहते हैं डर के आगे जीत है. So how has he managed to cross and cope with these very natural emotions, and how has he achieved success after that? So welcome to you, sir.
Thank you so much.
So to start with, the first question that people want to know, the aspirants, they want to know that your father was in army, sir. How did his being in the army, in any way responsible for your career in the your interest, in fact, in the armed forces career? Was he your guiding force? And how did you go about joining the armed forces, the Indian Army? Did it help you to have people in the army around you, your family members, or it did not? Because, sir, as per statistics, 30% of armed forces wards only get selected, and the rest of the crowd is from the civilian background. The rest of it. So how did it happen to you, sir? And how was the statistics then?
So firstly, I would not bother about the statistics because it has no meaning. To get into the armed forces, you need merit. You don't need a background. And in no examination, whether it's your written exam or it's your SSB, do you get any extra benefit or points from being from a background which is that of the armed forces. So I will not bother about the statistics. But when you ask me whether it affected my joining, yes, my father was my inspiration, because from the time I started looking around and understanding what was happening, I used to see him in uniform. He went and participated in the 3 wars that took place in 1962 when I was really, really young. But then there were photographs of that when he was leaving. I saw those. In 1965, the war with Pakistan. And then again in 1971, the war with Pakistan. And I used to see him going to work in his uniform, the environment in his office, the environment at home, and all that left a mark on my mind. So from the time I was, I think, about 4 years old, whenever somebody asked me what I want to do, I would say I want to join the army. And I would attribute this desire to join the armed forces or the army purely on my father being in the army. Whether it helped me? Yes, it helped me in the sense that I had a fair idea of what I wanted to do in life. So the moment I finished my class 11, I joined NDA. And from there, I went to the IMA and I was in the army all these years. I didn't have that gestation period trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. So to that extent, it helped me. But I don't think whether it was 30% today or it's 20% or it's 10%, tomorrow it might be even 0. It's all to do with the person who goes there for the SSB, how competent you are. They are judging you for your leadership skills, for the potential you have to become an officer. And if you have it, you will be selected.
Fantastic, sir. Thank you so much. I was one of them who did not have any background, yet I could make it. So background really does not matter much. If you have potential, you'll definitely make it. Thank you so much for that answer, sir. So you are alumni of NDA, and you were also awarded Sword of Honor, I believe, and that might have been really tough because the life itself in academy is so tough. The discipline and the rigorous physical activity that it has, that people have to go through, the cadets have to go through, is really something. So tell us something about that experience, sir. And also now we will have women candidates in NDA. How do you see that, for them? Do you foresee any challenges, or what is your perspective on that?
Firstly, it is whether it is easy or difficult to get the Sword of Honor in the IMA. There is no Sword of Honor in the NDA. So NDA doesn't have a Sword of Honor. It's only a gold medal, a silver
Or
medal, and a bronze medal.
how would I know?
So thereafter, you go to the Indian Military Academy, and that is where I got the gold medal and the Sword of Honor.
All right, all right.
Now, when you ask me, was it tough? Well, the training itself is tough. So it's as tough for the person who may be the last in the order of merit as it is for the person who's first in the order of merit, because everybody is working hard and trying to cope up, like you said, with the physical activity. It's all new to you. However, by the time you reach IMA, you have had 3 years. If you're from the NDA, then you have 3 years of that experience of being put through physical training and everything else that is demanded of a military academy. So when you reach IMA, you may be slightly better off. But yes, in the NDA, coping with physical activity, with academic subjects, because you're also doing a graduation, whether it's a graduation in science or in arts, so you have a lot of studies to be done, and there are so many other facets to the National Defense Academy that training is not easy, and somebody has to be first and somebody has to be last because they just draw out a merit. So yes, it was tough. I worked hard. I worked very hard, and probably that's why I did get the sword and the gold medal. Then you asked me about women joining the NDA. Well, it'll be as tough for them as it was for us, because we came from school. We had no prior experience of what the National Defense Academy will be. So will they come from their schools and have no experience of what to expect and what it'll be like. So I think it'll be equally tough. I don't see any difference in the degree of difficulty for the boys as it will be for the girls. Challenges, I think the challenges are more in our minds than on the ground. When I say in our minds, people who are old school, they wonder how girls will get along in the NDA because they never saw them there. Now girls will come. I don't think it's going to be any different. It's like having any academy where the boys and girls training together. In the army, we've had the Officers Training Academy, which has been training women now for a long time. So NDA will adapt. So will the cadets out there. I feel if there are any challenges, it will be more in the administrative part of it, to make sure that they have appropriate infrastructure, which is required to keep girls, uh, to make sure that they get the kind of treatment that they should be receiving. It's nothing to do with training. It's all administrative. So I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's a good step, and I feel that the first batch, which is probably going to join soon, uh, you will get to see them train and come out with flying colors.
Yes, sir, that would be epic. And we're all waiting for that day, for the first batch. Landmark for our country, definitely. So your career graph was very exciting. It was always linear and looking up because of your hard work, of course. Behind your, I want to know, sir, did you?
Can you put this guy on mute? There's some Nagesh who's got his mic on and Sagar, both these guys. There's a lot of background sound. Just put everybody on mute, please.
Yes, sir.
Sagar Sahu also has got his mic on.
Unfortunately, I don't have my laptop to do today, and I'm operating from my phone, and it has its own challenges.
So there, you'll have to tell him to mute himself.
Yes. Uh, Kindly mute yourselves, please.
Anyway, he's not muted, but let's go on because otherwise we'll just keep waiting. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. So I was talking about your career graph. All right. So, sir, it was always looking up. I'm sure you were really hardworking and you knew your game. Sir, but behind your success, I'm sure you must have dealt with those emotions of anxiety pertaining to your future, your outcomes about your success, whether or not you will meet them. How did you cope with this emotion of anxiety, sir? Because this is a world of toxic positivity, wherein we are told that fears like emotions like anxiety, fear, and all those things are not good for us. However, they always help us. They are some indications, and we are supposed to take some clues and manage ourselves. Only then are we going to have a better outcomes in life. How did you handle, sir? How did you handle anxiety?
I think it's important to first understand what anxiety is. You know, anxiety is a response of the mind when the mind feels that there is some impending danger. So, in the olden times, whenever there was danger around, the human body felt anxiety, the mind felt anxiety, which increased our heart rate. It helped us to get in more oxygen and prepared the body for the danger. So, it's a human response. It's not something bad. It's an emotion. It's a human emotion, very much similar to anger, to love, to hate. Similarly, anxiety. Now, what happens is that when you're young, and so was my case, I couldn't make sense of anxiety when I was in the academy. And yes, we face anxiety at every step, even if there's an examination when you're in uh, primary school, or you have to be selected for maybe something as simple as a skit when you are in junior school. Your performance when you come to your school in terms of your board exams, uh, at every stage in life, you feel anxious about the outcome. And if you don't handle it right, it can actually lead to a situation where anxiety can overtake you, and then you come into a situation where you start avoiding things which will give you anxiety.
करा ना लेना करा भारती
Kindly mute yourselves.
See, you will have to tell this guy Sagar, it's the same chap. So if you can't handle anxiety, then slowly you start avoiding situations that lead to anxiety, and that's not good. So that is allowing anxiety to overtake your life. Now, how does anxiety help you? Imagine if you're a person who didn't feel anxiety. What would you do? That means you would not prepare for any event which has a meaning in your life because you're not feeling anxious about it. So only two kind of people don't face anxiety. The first kind are those who are dead, and the others are those who are insane. And I don't think we need to be in any of these two categories. Because if you are not feeling anxious about what is coming your way, if you don't have those butterflies in your stomach, if you don't start getting worried, then you are not going to be preparing for that. And when you feel anxious, you prepare and you prepare yourself well, and then you perform well. So anxiety is good. What is not good is to let that anxiety overtake you. How do you handle that? So, firstly, like I said, you must understand that it's a normal response. And once you understand that, then you won't fight it. Like you can't fight anger, you can't fight love, you can't fight hate, you can't fight anxiety. So accept it. First step is accept the fact that you will be anxious when there is something important which is going to happen. Now, when you start feeling anxious, then there are some techniques that you can follow to reduce the amount of uh, the anxiousness which is developing. I said it increases your heart rate. Your heart starts pounding. You'll find that the amount of oxygen going in increases. So you can reduce that by deep breathing. So there are exercises for deep breathing. Immediately I can say take deep breaths, maybe 7-10 of them, and you will find that you will calm down. You can also prepare yourself well for that event. When you are going for something which is important, say an examination, and you have anxiety about what's going to happen in that examination, that anxiety will reduce when you prepare well and go. So that means you need to work hard, and that will reduce the amount of anxiety. Thirdly, you can visualize how you will perform in that important event. In your mind, you rehearse, you keep practicing how you're going to do, how you're going to do it. Say an examination, how you will write the examination, the technique that you have mastered, the way you will phrase your sentences. You don't know what's going to come, but the techniques of answering that you are talking about and the way you're going to go about it, if you keep rehearsing it in your mind, it lowers the anxiety. If there is an event like taking part, say public speaking, then in your mind you keep speaking publicly. Whatever you are going to speak, it will reduce your anxiety. So if you follow these techniques, you will find that anxiety has made you prepare well, and you can control the amount of anxiety you have by using these techniques of deep breathing and visualization, practice, and stuff like that. Did I face anxiety? All the while, every time, every event. Even today, when you said you're going to have a talk with me, I was anxious. I don't know. I was anxious about what I'll say, whether I'll be able to convince the people who are going to listen. So it's normal. Everybody faces anxiety. So when you face anxiety, don't believe that there is something wrong with you. You are normal. You just need to follow these techniques to be able to control it. I think you're muted now, Sadhana.
Thank you so much, sir, for that very, very elaborate answer. And you explained very nicely as to how to deal with this emotion called as anxiety, which is very natural to any human being. Also, fear of there's anxiety of speaking. You just mentioned you had, in fact, even I had certain things not going as I had planned, like I don't have my laptop, something like that. So I'm going to interview a general of the army. So I had my own anxiety, but the fact is I'm here and I'm doing fine. So public speaking, they say, is amongst top five things people fear. And yes, it's natural to everyone. What will reduce your fear or anxiety of this unfamiliar situation is your preparation. Nothing can beat your preparation, just as sir said, just as you said, sir. Wonderful. Nothing can beat preparation. So prepare yourself, visualize inside of your mind is very powerful. Whatever you can conceive here, whatever you can visualize here, it definitely becomes a reality, because that is how it is. That is how manifestations happen. Now, sir, coming to my fourth question, you have a rare distinction of, sir, being the first army man and the only general in the world to have been titled as Ironman. I'm sure, sir, you must have prepared for the same, and looking at your post, I'm really inspired. You're so regular, so disciplined in your fitness activity. So, sir, do you recollect while you were performing the triathlon, do you recollect any moment wherein you thought that this is the end, or I won't be able to continue any further, or what will happen if I'm not able to continue further? You know, fear, basically fear. While you were probably swimming, or you were cycling, or you were running, did you face that fear? And how do you propose that those who are listening to you, sir, how do you propose they cope with this yet another very natural and very you know often we all face this emotion. Every human being does that, very human to face. So how do you propose that we deal with this anxiety, this emotion called as fear?
So there's a saying in the army that no plan survives contact. We all make a plan in our lives that this is how we're going to go about it. I will train, I will take part in the Ironman, and I will be successful. That was my plan. And the moment the event starts to unfold, things happen that your entire plan goes awry. And that's what they say, that when you are in contact with the enemy, that's the army saying I'm talking of now. When you are in contact with the army, you have made with the enemy, you made a plan on how you're going to go and capture the enemy territory. But the moment you're in contact with the enemy, your entire plan goes for a six, because the enemy doesn't react the way you have anticipated. Similarly, situations don't unfold the way you have planned for them. And similarly, it happened with I had prepared very well. I had a game plan. I had a time plan. I had all my nourishment, my hydration, everything in place. I had meticulously visualized it in my mind thousands of times, so that when I started, it was just like yet another rehearsal I was doing. But after I finished my swim of 3.8 kilometers and I got into my cycle, I commenced my 180-kilometer cycling ride. At 150 kilometers of my cycling, I started feeling really, really drained of energy, very low on energy. My eyes started to blacken. Uh, the road was, becoming blurry because my eyes were, blackening out. And I started getting this feeling in my mind that I might have to quit. I had put in a year and a half of training. And here it was, after 150 kilometers, I was getting this feeling that I'll have to drop out. So there was this fear building up within me. I looked for some nourishment on me. There was supposed to be a energy bar that I had kept for this time, but I couldn't locate it. It had slid somewhere deep down into my pocket. And when you're riding a cycle, you try and reach out behind you for the bar. It's not easy. So I couldn't locate it. It was at this moment that a very astonishing thing happened with me. When I started to synchronize my cycling with my breathing. I started doing this because once earlier I had an experience where I had done synchronization of my running with my breathing, and I found that even when I was totally exhausted, I managed to run 5 kilometers. Now, in this desperate moment, I synchronized my cycling with my breathing, and I got magically transported, and I connected with my mother who had passed away 5 years ago. I saw her face shining, looking down at me. She was smiling. I felt a surge of energy. I felt goosebumps on my body, and I started cycling strongly. So this energy really helped me, and I finished the balance 30 kilometers very strong. And this experience changed the outcome of what may have happened. That fear that I was facing, that I will fail, was changed thanks to this experience. But when you talk of fear that each one of you will face, yes, there's fear in everything that you do, because when things are important, before it happens, you're anxious. We spoke of anxiety. And therefore, you prepare. You work very hard. And you are now fully prepared. You have visualized, you have rehearsed, and you're ready. But yet, there is a fear of failure. What happens if I fail? How will I react? How will the people around me react? How will I face people who might ridicule me? That see, he went to do this, he couldn't do it. So all these fears of failure are there. How do you deal with it? And I feel the most important way to deal with failure is to be prepared for it. In your mind, you must be sure that one of the outcomes is going to be failure. Everything that you do can't always succeed. So once you're prepared for failure, then your reaction when failure actually comes will be different from the time when, if failure comes and you're not prepared for it. If failure comes and you're not prepared, you might be so demoralized that you just give up on your plan after that. You get demoralized, you get depressed, you go into hibernation. But if you're prepared for it, what do? You step back. You start introspecting what went wrong. Where is it that I didn't give enough effort? Could I have done it differently? Is it something that I didn't do right? So you introspect everything you did. You find out where you went wrong and you make a plan of how you can do it better. It might be a different plan. It might be the same plan with more emphasis on some points. And then you can go again and take on the challenge that you were taking. So being prepared for failure is the most important aspect. And therefore, I keep saying that whenever you make a plan, in your mind, you rehearse it, you visualize it, you practice it, but you should also remember that you might fail and accept failure. It's not easy to accept failure. You will still be sad, you will still be upset, but you will be not so upset that you will give up. And that's the way I went about it. I was prepared for failure, though I'm sure I would have been, broken if I had failed, but I was prepared for failure. You're muted.
Thank you, sir. What a unique way of dealing with fear, failure, is to be prepared for it, is to be prepared. Even though you would be preparing for your success, but definitely be prepared in your mind that if I fail, yeah, I can fail. That is a possibility. So brilliant there, sir. Question number 5, sir. Millions of boys and girls aspire to don the uniforms of the armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force. And it's a very formidable career. So what advice would you give them for them to prepare themselves mentally, physically, prior to them even thinking about it? Not that they're going for SSB. I think prior to, in fact, planning to have a career in the armed forces, what is your advice? How do they choose this career?
I would say the first and foremost thing is to gain knowledge about what you're going in for. Don't go in for something just because the people around you are doing that, or it is the most popular profession to choose, or it is something that you have got enamored with because of the glamour, because of the kind of posts that you see around you. So gain information about whatever be your choice, whether it's the Army, Navy, or the Air Force. What is it all about? What does it entail? What is the kind of life that you will have to lead? What are the kind of challenges you will face? It's not all fun and games. It's not all glamour. So gain knowledge is the first step. Having done that, then you have to see that are you cut out for that role? Are you somebody who's actually cut out for that? How do you find that out? Because this is a puzzle of identity, which I say. This puzzle is there within all of us. Because most people take up professions because of the aspirations other people have of them. Maybe your parents want you to join the army. Maybe all your friends are joining the army. When I say army, look at defense services. So don't get taken in by army. I'm from the army, so I'll use the word army. So if all your friends are joining the army, you may want to join the army. Your parents aspire you to join the army, so you join the army. But what is it that you want to do? How will you find out what is it that you want to do? The first thing you need to do is look at whom you idolize. Who's your idol? Who is it, that person like whom you want to be? Whoever that person is, identify that person first. Then you see what is it in that person that enamors you. What is it in that person that attracts you? What is it about that person that you want to also emulate? Note all that down. And then you will get a fair idea as to where your passion lies. And if that person is an army guy and the qualities that that person exhibits is what you want to imbibe, then yes, you're on the right lines. So I think you should do this little bit of a check before you take the step of starting to prepare and getting into the rigmarole of how to get into the army. So having done that, and now you have decided, I want to join the army, thereafter you need to prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for what you have read will be the life that you are going to be leading. Because when you look around you, you'll find advertisements about the army. People will post about the army. It's not all fun and games, like I said. Somebody has to go and stand on the Siachen Glacier to man those heights. Somebody has to fight the militancy wherever it may be, whether it's the Northeast or it's the Valley. People die. Your life is difficult. There is separation from your family. You will have moments where you will be put to test, where all your skills have to be catered for, have to come to the fore to survive. You will need to use everything that you have within you just to be able to survive. So these are the difficult aspects of it. You should be aware of that. I'm not saying that you should not join, but I'm saying you need to step into something when you know what you're stepping into, and don't get into something and then later see, oh hell, I never prepared for this. I didn't know that it's going to be so difficult. I thought it'd be a bed of roses, and I'll just be wearing uniforms, and I'll be getting salutes, and I'll be getting all the respect and the honor and the glamour and all the pomp and show. So prepare for it, that okay, now I'm joining the profession of arms. It's a tough life. Somebody may have to lay down their life. Am I prepared for it? How will my family be affected? Look at all that. And then go ahead. And then, of course, you know how to do it. You have the written exam, you have the SSP, you have the medicals. That all is quite clearly listed out in all the literature which is available, and you know how to go about that. So I won't talk of that. But this aspect prior to your decision to join is something I feel each one of you must look at before you take the step.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, to be in the armed forces is a feat in itself, whether it's a Jawan or an officer. But the spouses have major role to play as well. They have tough life as well. It's not like civilians, where their spouses are always around them and helping them out and things like that. Here, the life is different. There is going to be separation. There are going to be certain things that you have to do all alone, and you have to handle your family, and if you have career, then career, all these things. So there is extra pressure on you when you are a spouse of or a partner of armed forces personnel. Sir, how do you propose one goes about choosing a partner who's prepared to go through these things, or uh, or prepare that partner for these things to come?
I don't think it's a big issue on how to choose and whom to choose. Your choice should not be based upon your profession. Your choice should be based upon your heart. So, like they say, go with your heart. You find a person that you love, make them your life partner. Everything else then will fall in place. So the choosing part is not essential, except from the way you would choose your life partner in every and any other profession that you are in. Now, when you talk of the conditions that we live in, yes, of course, I said the conditions are tough. And I feel that with a little bit of understanding and a little bit of preparation of your spouse, you can put them into the right grid, into the right frame of mind, giving them the right environment to be able to understand the requirements of the profession. And within that, to be able to run and have a family which is, flourishing and happy. So this is only stage management, and it can be easily done, like I said, by understanding and by preparing them after you've married them. Of course, the organization itself provides you a lot of support. So the organization will also support your spouse when there is separation. You may be away at Siachen, the icy heights, but there is a support system which is looking after your family. So that makes it even more easier. And then you are in an environment where all your necessity is taken care of in terms of your medical, your transport, your schooling for the children, all your extracurricular other activities which you need to partake is all available inside the protected environment of the cantonments, which normally you would be living in. So I think it is more important just to make sure that you have spent that time educating your spouse and making them understand what are the demands of your profession. But having said that, I also want to say that you must also make sure that you are also looking at the demands of what your spouse's profession may be. It's not as if you're going to just marry somebody and expecting him or her to become part of your life and have no life of their own. They may have a career. They may have aspirations. They need to follow their aspirations. You're following yours. So it's actually the coming together of two people, both of you who have aspirations and who can both grow together, respecting each other's requirements and adjusting to each other's needs.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Sir, wonderful interacting with you, sir. Is there any closing remark that you have, any message you have for the aspirants who have joined, or any person who is listening to you or would be listening to you through the record, this record which I have? So what is your message, sir?
The message I'd like to give everybody who's listening to me is that you must always believe in yourself. And that is the most important aspect that you will rely on in your life to go ahead. Believe in yourself. Then, having belief in yourself, look at what you want, what your dream is. Look at your dream, believe in yourself, and chase your dream. Chase your dream, not the dream of other people. Don't chase other people's dreams or what aspirations others have of you. There might be a conflict between what you want to do and what the people who matter to you want you to do. If there is a conflict like that, go by your dream because it's your life. So believe in yourself, dream big, chase your dream, and I can assure you, you will realize your dream and your dream will come true. With that, I want to wish each one of you all the best. I'm sure you will get what you deserve and what you want in life. Good luck. Godspeed.
Have a question for 10 minutes.
I can't hear that.
So can we have question answer round, sir, for 10 minutes? There are some
Go ahead.
candidates who want to ask questions. So
Yeah.
Raise your hands and I'll give you an opportunity to. Yes. Diotima Das, unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Sir, like you have said, is it okay to have two different kind of dreams and ambitions? Like, I have an ambition of being a teacher, but also the armed forces inspires me, and it's like a dream for me to join. So sometimes I get confused, like whether which one should I give the priority more, and it sometimes confuses me. So what can I do in such kind of situation?
So if you remember within my talk, I spoke of this puzzle of identity. That's what you're facing, where you have these two professions which you want to pursue, but you don't know which one you want more. And so follow the route which I told you. Amongst these two, find out whom you really, where is your idol? whom is it that you want to be like, and look at the qualities that they have, and then which profession you find that those qualities which come out of that ideal, which of these professions actually is closer to what you want. It might help you decide which of them, or out of these two, you want to take up. The other way to do it is to have a combination. There are teachers within the army. You can join the army and be a teacher in the army itself. So we have the education corps in the army. I'm sure there's one in the Navy and the Air Force, similar.
Yes, there is in the Navy as well, sir. Education branch.
So you can join them
ma'am.
and be a teacher up there. So you will get the best of both of what you're looking at.
Yes, yes. Rahul, you're the
Thank you,
next.
sir.
Mute yourself and ask your question. The rest of you, please mute yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. First of all, I would like to thank the organizing authorities for such a great informational seminar. It's definitely meaning for our people aspirants like us. So sir, my question is that I'm been into the preparation from last 3 years. So I'd given my ND and all, but I'm a 5-time repeater of SSB, so I'd exhausted all my attempts. Right now sir, I'm preparing for CDS, but the thing is that sir, after those consistent failures, there is a little spark of self doubt is there, sir. Though there is the motivation and the inspiration to join the forces is not reduced, but the sense and the interest which I had initially during the preparation, I think it is little fading. So how to get going with the same enthusiasm and prepare, because I know I made for this. So if I gets on to the same track, I will be one day able to complete my or accomplish my dream. So how to get going in the preparation?
So there's always a stage in life when you are at a crossroad. You know, when are you at a crossroad? When you find that the path that you want to go on is getting blocked. So in your case, like you said, you have been consistently preparing and appearing for joining the armed forces, but you haven't had success so far. You are finding that this path that you want to choose is getting blocked, or there are obstacles and you're not being able to cross them. So there are two ways to do it. One is either you decide to keep going along this path where you're not getting success, or you are at this crossroad and you find that it's time to turn away and go another route. And when I talk of that, that means leave the profession of arms, which you are not being able to get into, and look at doing something else. And I'll give you an example of two very, very prominent people. One is Amitabh Bachchan, and the other is Dr. Abdul Kalam. Both of them could not get through the entrance exam for the defense services, and see where they went and became in their own spheres. The most popular actor and the best president, or the most popular president we've had.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that there is only the profession of arms that you want to. That is your first choice. So it's a very fine decision. When should you wear off? Or how long will you keep trying? This is something that only you have to decide. So this is one part. Having said that, if you decide that you want to go on and join the armed forces, then I think the only way you can keep up that spark is to keep visualizing how you will feel when you get in. You know, you want it so badly. It's your dream. But you're finding that the morale is coming down because you're facing failure all the while. Visualize your success. Visualize how you will feel when you become an officer. How how you will feel as a person, how the family around you will feel, how your friends will look at you. That will enhance your morale. You can also do self-talk, that I can do it. I will come out strong. It's easier said than done, but these are techniques that can be used to improve your morale when you're taking on something where you are getting repeated failures.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yes. There's another question in the chat, sir, that how to be good in academics or be in the merit in the academy so that one can become SF officer or, other choices that they can avail. So that's another question.
Firstly, whoever's asked this question, I want to tell you that you don't need to be in merit to become an SF officer. Everybody doesn't want to become an SF officer, and you will find that from the amongst the first 20 people, very few join the SF. It's only people who are differently oriented join the SF. So SF is not something where you need academics. SF is not something where you need high merit. SF is something where you need only a passion. Somebody wants to become an SF officer. Somebody wants to join the infantry, somebody the artillery, somebody the armored corps. Everybody has their own passion. So if you have a passion for joining the SF, opt for it. You don't need merit for it. You need passion for it. But having said this, how to do well in your academics? You just need to study. You need to study and you need to work hard on your physical abilities so that your overall merit can improve. Your officer-like qualities, and there is a whole lot of things that go about forming part of it in the academy. I'm not talking of in the SSB. In the academy, officer-like qualities are dependent upon how many times you've been caught doing wrong stuff. If you have been, taking shortcuts, for example, or you've not done your assignments in time, or you have gone out of bounds without informing or getting permission, all this goes towards reducing your officer-like qualities. So you have to make sure your officer-like qualities are high. You have to make sure your academic performance is high. You have to perform well physically in your marching, in your military subjects. So there's a whole lot of syllabus which you have to perform well in, and then only you will come up on top, if that is what you're looking at. But again, like I'm saying, to join the SF, it's not the people on the top. In the IMA, when you get commissioned and you look at which arm you want to join, and you give your choice, what happens is that they make blocks. I remember during my time, we had blocks of 20 GCs. So the people who were number 1, 2, 3, 4 in that block got their choice. You may be in the last block. That means your merit may be 450th. And in that block, you are number 1, you will still get your choice. So there is a mix of all this which happens so that there's equal distribution of talent in every arm in service. Otherwise, you'll find that one arm will get all the best people and the other arms don't get people which are good enough. So keep that in mind, and that's how you need to prepare in your academy.
I hope your your question is answered, Rahul. And there's another question, sir, from Akshata. Yeah, Akshata is asking, sir, that everyone is scared of something or the other. Now, sometimes people laugh at you that, oh, you don't know this. So how to appear confident so that people don't, laugh at you and you perform well?
So I would say it's better to look stupid once than to remain stupid all your life. So when you are stupid once and you ask that question, at the cost of people laughing at you, thereafter you're not stupid for the rest of your life because you now know the answer to whatever you didn't know earlier. But imagine if you don't go and ask that question and you keep waiting, you keep feeling that if I ask this question, people will laugh at me, then you remain stupid throughout. But having said that, I understand what you're saying. It takes a lot of courage to ask a question and reveal to people that you didn't know it. So there are two ways to go about it. One is that you ask the question in full public view and then risk whatever you said or whatever you're fearing that people will laugh at you. Or you can go and do it privately. You can ask that question later on privately, maybe to a friend, maybe to the person who's teaching you, or read up on it on yourself. So you have to be tactful as well as careful in how you project yourself, because everybody has certain amount of questions that they don't know the answers to. How you ask that question, where you ask that question, and that will dictate upon what you said, that how do you take care of people laughing at you. If you feel that you can ask, you'll find there are some people who don't care. They'll ask the most silly and obvious questions anywhere and anytime, and they couldn't care if you laugh at them or you don't laugh at them. If you're that type, no problem. But obviously you're not. That's why you ask this question. Then be more tactful, like I said. Maybe ask it later on. Maybe read up on it yourself. Ask your friends, and that's it.
Yes, sir. She was also asking how to show that you're a confident person, how to show that to the people that that you don't know this, and as in you're doing something and you don't know how to do it. How to show that you're a confident person who knows what she's doing.
This is a technique which will come on its own with time. But one of the ways to show that you're confident is not by not opening your mouth and saying the wrong stuff. So you'll find a lot of people don't speak up. It doesn't mean that they are all knowledgeable. Some people don't speak up because if they speak, they might utter the wrong stuff. Also, confidence comes with practice. It's like if you see a duck swimming in water,
Yes.
and you look at the duck below the water, the duck is, it's pedaling hard.
But paddling
On
very.
top, above the water, you just find a very smooth, calm duck. All these ducks are moving. So you need to remain calm like a duck above water. Whilst inside your mind, you may be churning and asking, yourself, I don't know this, I don't know that, you're getting anxious, all that, but that doesn't have to show. Those emotions have to be kept concealed within you. What people see is calmness, and what is within you may be a storm going on inside. So this will come with practice, but since I have told you about it, do read up on how to show or convince people that you are confident. But mostly confidence comes with knowledge.
Preparation and knowledge.
Prepared. You have knowledge and you are prepared, you will automatically exude confidence. To be and look confident when you don't know anything what's happening is an art, and that you will have to learn like the way I told you.
So, sir, I have 3 P's which I always tell the students, and it is prepare, it is practice, and perform. So these 3 P's are applicable in any field, whether it is sports, whether it is academics, whether it is anything. These 3 P's are very crucial. So it is you preparing, it is you practicing, it is you performing then in the final day. So remember this. There's another question, sir, and it is how to think and act like an officer.
Well, there is no way that specifically officers meant to act. An officer is supposed to be a gentleman. So that's why they say officer and a gentleman. And that's why in the academy they call you gentleman cadets. You need to just behave like a gentleman behaves, and that's how officers behave. The rest of what an officer does is professional. That will come, and that activity or your actions will come out of your knowledge, out of your professionalism, your competence at what you do. If you have that competence, if you have learned your job well, if you can do the things that are meant of you, you will behave like an officer. So what is an officer? An officer is a leader. What should a leader have? A leader should have the ability to lead people. How can you lead people? They will only follow you when you are competent, when they have faith in you, when they feel that you will be able to solve their problems, when they look up to you, when you have good communication skills. All that goes to make an officer. So there is the professional part, and then there is the gentleman part. And this combination, if you imbibe, that's how an officer behaves.
Yes, sir. Very true, sir. There are more questions, sir. Would you like to take them? Because it's almost 1 hour now. Would you like to take them, sir?
Yeah, let's take them.
Yes, sir. Sir, someone is asking, sir, as to how to push yourself to achieve that physical, towards your physical limits, as in like you did by getting that title of Ironman. So you pushed your limits, and that's how you got it. So how to do that? That's what one of them is asking.
So to push any limits, you need to push your mind. It's always mind over matter. If you have a strong mind, then you can do things that you thought earlier that were not even possible for you to do. And having said that, what I'm trying to say is that you need to build mental endurance. You need to strengthen your mind. Like you strengthen yourself physically, you can strengthen yourself mentally. There are techniques to strengthen your mind. I'll share some with you, some techniques. Do stuff which is difficult. There's always this, we are get into a habit of procrastination. When something difficult comes our way, we avoid it and we put it aside saying, isko baad mein karenge. So don't procrastinate. When something difficult comes your way, step out and do it. When you start doing this, even for small things, it'll become a habit, and then you will get used to stepping out of your comfort zone. And if you have to build up mental endurance, you have to be out of your comfort zone. You should be able to do things which you are not used to doing, things which are difficult. Now, one of the techniques which I always talk of is, it's winter these days, you're going for a bath. When you go and turn on the water, we are very comfortable in, having a hot water bath in winter. But if you want to do something difficult and train your mind, stand in the cold shower for 1 minute. Willingly. Put on the cold shower and stand there and let your mind fight the cold, not your body. Your body will fight the cold only if your mind fights the cold. And if you do it every day, you will find your mental endurance goes up. Another way of enhancing your mental endurance is by doing things, like I said, you're not used to doing. Adventure, travel. Traveling helps because you are meeting new people, new situations, new locations. It enhances mental endurance. Taking on adventure also enhances mental endurance. So there are many other techniques like this, but suffice to say, work on your mind more than your body. The body anyway is required. You need to have that stamina. But if your mind is not there, your stamina will not last. You'll give up. Giving up is always in the mind, not in the body. Your stamina may be less, but your mind is strong. You will find that people who are strong-willed will go through even with low stamina and low energy, rather than the other way around, high stamina, high energy, but no willpower. So develop willpower.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that answer. So you become tough, you push your limits by doing things which are difficult, by doing things which are not familiar to you. You're seeing the unfamiliar, experiencing the unfamiliar. Like you're running for 3 kilometers from past so many days or months. Try and run 4 kilometers of, slowly and steadily enhance it. And then only you can push your limits in whatever you're doing. So beat your own standards. Like Sir said, beat your own standards, do differently. There's another question, sir. Someone is asking, in fact, Akshita is asking, that you are confident in you appear for something, some exam, and you fail. Now, when you fail, you know that you failed. Now, how to deal with this fear of failure, that, the failure can come again, how to deal with this situation? That's what she's asking. And I'm sure, I think she was late, otherwise she would have got the answer. You already told in one of your answers. So, sir, if you might want to answer it again.
So like I mentioned earlier, the fear of failure can be dealt with adequately if you are prepared for it. Unlike a person who's not prepared to fail, when they fail, then you get so disappointed that you may even give up your dream, or you may get into depression or into hibernation. But if you have prepared for the failure, you will still feel bad. There's no doubt about it. I'm not saying that the sadness or the grief will go away, but it will be less because you had prepared that I might fail. It is the least possibility, but it was a possibility. So prepare for failure. Prepare how you will react when you fail. What will you do? So one is that you make a new plan, you see where you went wrong. Second is you may even say, okay, I failed in this, let me do my plan B. That's a choice that you have to make. But you have a plan, whether to make a new plan and go for your same dream, or to make a different plan and go for a different dream. But this can only happen when you are prepared. Therefore, prepare for failure.
Yes, sir. Yes, very true, sir. And there's always plan B in the army, sir. In the armed forces, we always have plan B. So, that goes without saying. Always have a plan B for yourself. Like I always wanted to be in the armed forces because I had an idol, like sir said, and my idol was not an army officer, but it was Kiran Bedi, who was an IPS officer. I had none in my family who I could look up to, or nobody around me who was an army officer except my NCC officer, the commandant of the battalion. So except him, I had never seen anyone. So that's the thing. So that's the thing. So always have plan B. So I wanted to be armed forces officer. I became one. I wanted to be in the army. I somehow landed up in the Navy, and I had a plan B that if I will not become this, then I'll become an IAS officer or IPS officer. So I had my plan B there. And the easiest thing for me to do was become a teacher, because I came from that kind of a family. My father was a teacher. He was an educator. So that was the easiest thing. I was doing my master's. And in fact, prior to joining the armed forces, I was teaching in a middle school. So that was the easiest path for me. So I chose the difficult one, which was to join the armed forces. And had I not realized armed forces career, then I would have been in the civil services cadre somewhere. There's another question, sir. The question is, will the academic marks affect merit list after recommendation in the SSB?
I'm not understanding this question.
As in,
so when you have the merit list coming up, firstly, you appear for a written examination and you have X number of marks and you have cleared it. So for example, 400 people cleared the written examination. Let's take a hypothetical situation. There are 200 vacancies for an academy. Now, 400 people cleared the written. After that, these 400 people go for the SSB, and out of them, 300 people clear the SSB. Okay. How is the merit drawn? The marks that you got in your written and the marks that you got in your SSB, of these 300 people, they will be added and you will have a merit made from 1 to 300. And so the first 200 will be the people who will go in, and the balance 100 will be on reserve or whatever else. That's how the merit is done. It's a combination of both your written and your SSB.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. All right, sir. Is coaching necessary for CTS, or self-preparation is enough, sir? That's another question.
This is something I must ask you.
It depends.
Will you be more comfortable going in for any event with coaching or without coaching? You'll get your answer. If you're equally comfortable going in without coaching as you are with coaching, then it's your choice. But I feel it's always important to have a coach. And when you have a coach, you get guidance, you get a direction, and therefore your task becomes easier and you'll be more efficient in the time that you spend. You get focus on where to spend that time. But if you're very good and you feel that you can go in without coaching, then go without coaching. It's not something that anybody can answer for you. It's something that you have to ask yourself.
Analyze yourself. Yes, sir. So, sir, it's already 8.
I'll just qualify this answer also. Like when I did the Ironman, I had no coach. I had no nutritionist. I didn't join any gym because I did a lot of research on my own. I had confidence that if I research, I know my body, I'll be able to do it better. So I didn't take up any coach. I picked up what I could from all my research. I applied that to what I knew of myself, and that's how I trained. So if you're that type who has this kind of confidence and you feel that you can do the research on your own, then you don't need a coach.
Mm-hmm. So coach is someone who can, well said, sir, but coach is someone who can reduce your time, and effort, who can give you certain direction and guidance and pinpoint your areas where you need to work and push you to become what you want to become. So of course it's a personal choice, but definitely coach always helps. It's a personal choice whether you want to take the coach, whether you feel that you need a coach. It's a personal choice. You can always exercise your choice. All right, sir, it's 8:10.
Yeah, we'll call it off then.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for spending your valuable time with us, answering all the questions with so much of patience, sharing your experience to develop all the aspirants here, and your valuable insights, which we can apply in our lives and reduce those mistakes and have a better life. Therefore, thank you so much for joining us, sir. Thank you so much. So you mute.
Thank you so much, Sadhana, for having me over for this show. It was great fun talking to all these people and taking on the answers. And I wish you and all of them all the very best. And may you all succeed in whatever be your endeavors. Good luck and Godspeed.
Thank you, sir. Have a great evening, sir.
You too. Goodbye.
Bye, sir.